Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. The Southwest TV Translator Association underwrites the news, and Dolores County Broadcasting Network provides the support for DCTV.
Here at the News at Noon show, we assemble the best and most interesting news from the area, and Jerry Tope brings you the local weather and related news. Give us a call with news tips or topics you'd like to see covered. The number is 677-4119.
Again, we're glad you tuned in to watch DCTV. Today's show is live on Monday at noon and rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. and again re-aired on Thursday at noon, 3 and 6.
Coming up, a tobacco ban in Cortez, driverless cars, craft beer week, and more.
And also a 1996 murder confession and the Colorado budget with weather, the sheriff's report, and area happenings. Today is March 20th, 2017, and now the news at noon. Updated last night from the Durango Herald, a resident of Italy, Marco Ricci, 46, and a Fort Lewis College student, Alan Duke, 23, were identified as the men who died from injuries suffered Saturday when they were hit by a vehicle while walking along Main Avenue in Durango. Durango Police Department Sergeant Rita Warfield also identified the driver of the Chevrolet Suburban, 76-year-old Bobby Lehman, who lives in both Durango and Texas. Warfield said Ricci was visiting Durango. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Duke was taken to Mercy Regional Medical Center with severe injuries and died there. Lehman was uninjured. There were a lot of witnesses, and our detectives are getting all the information together to try to determine what caused this to happen, she said. No charges have been filed as of Sunday afternoon. Around 4 p.m. Saturday, Lehman was northbound on Main Avenue in a white Chevrolet Suburban with a Texas license plate when the vehicle jumped the curb. The vehicle came to a stop between the Royal Motel and a sign, Detective Josh Newman said Saturday. The two pedestrians were on the sidewalk, but they were not together. On Sunday, red roses were placed at two different locations outside the Royal Motel where the two men were killed. In one spot, someone left a crucifix with the word hope on it, as well as a bag of candy. According to Ricci's Facebook page, he was from Latina, Italy, about an hour's drive south of Rome. Posts to his page indicate Ricci was visiting Durango on vacation with a friend to run a marathon. Pictures from the past few weeks show the two men on a southwestern tour through the Grand Canyon, Valley of the Gods, and Monument Valley. In his last post, Ricci uploaded photos of Durango, which show he had taken the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad just days before his death. More than 100 posts of condolences had been placed on his page as of Sunday afternoon. Duke was studying accounting, according to his friend and co-worker Gus Elbert. The two knew each other since their freshman year 4 years ago. Elbert said Duke was on his way to work at the Adobe Inn when he was hit. He said Duke walked every day to work. He was a really easygoing, polite kid, he said. He just had a lot of friends. According to Duke's Facebook page, he's from Parker, a town about 25 miles southeast of Denver. Information was not immediately available about the driver, Lehman. The investigation is still ongoing, and circumstances of crash remain unclear, Warfield said.
According to the Cortez Journal, more than 20 years after 37-year-old Milton Lee was found dead in a pool of blood at Cortez City Park, a man has confessed in his slaying, according to an affidavit. Sergio Tito Rivera, 38, admitted to Phoenix police officers on December 11, 2016, that he killed Lee, according to a December 12th affidavit for an arrest warrant filed in Montezuma District Court. Riviera was 17 years old at the time of the slaying. Cortez police officers found Lee, a Native American, northwest of the Colorado Welcome Center about 8:30 a.m. September 26, 1996, according to the arrest affidavit written by Cortez Police Detective Gary Stevens. Lee was lying face down with deep wounds to his throat, according to the affidavit. Montezuma District Attorney Will First said Thursday that charges against Rivera were filed January 6th for first-degree murder as a bias-motivated crime. Rivera has been charged as an adult even though he was a juvenile at the time of the crime. He was extradited from Arizona to the Montezuma County Jail on December 11th, said Montezuma County Sheriff's Office Captain Vichy Pierce. It's unclear where he was living. Cortez Police Chief Roy Lane, who was head of the department at the time of Lee's death, said Friday, "It's a relief for the department to see the crime solved."
In the Durango Herald from Denver, Colorado lawmakers took a step Thursday towards preparing the state for vehicles that will travel the roadways of the future. Senate Bill 213, which would allow automated driving systems in vehicles if they meet state and federal driving safety laws, was passed unanimously by the Senate Transportation Committee. It would also prohibit local governments from passing legislation to restrict use. Senator Dominic Moreno, Democrat from Commerce City, said SB 213 would lay a framework for the state as technologies develop and are deployed, which could be as soon as 5 years out. The passage of the bill came after testimony in support of the bill from leaders in the fields of automation and automotive products, such as Lockheed Martin, a global security and aerospace developer, General Motors, and Panasonic. Senator Owen Hill, Republican from Colorado Springs, said SB 213 is partially inspired by tough conversations his family has had on his grandmother's decreased independence as she ages. He wants to get ahead of the ball because the technology could provide accessibility options for the elderly and those with disabilities. It also allows Colorado to be a leader in the developing facet of the automotive and technology industry, Hill said. Uber famously put all their self-driving cars on the back of a truck and shipped them out of California and into Arizona. So here in Colorado, we've got a chance to say, come and set up shop here. There's technology, there's manufacturing, there's American jobs tied to this. And Colorado has a chance to be a real help for this. Jamie Adams, Senior Program Manager of Autonomous Systems for Lockheed Martin, said his company doesn't focus on personal transportation but has worked extensively in the realm of autonomous navigation and believes SB 213 would open the door for continued development. And while many who testified Thursday spoke in favor of the potential reduction in car crashes by taking human error out of the equation and the increased independence Hill envisions, not everyone was convinced. Greg Fulton, president of the Colorado Motor Carriers Association, said his organization supports the technologies but is not sure that now is the time for wholesale buy-in. The concern over the newness of autonomous systems was a common theme among opponents of the bill, as was the need for a strict outline on what testing and certification of autonomous vehicles in the state should entail, but the committee believed the bill, as it was, should be passed to the full Senate for consideration.
According to the Cortez Journal, members of the Southern Ute Indian tribe in southwest Colorado say their tribal government operates in secrecy, ignores the will of its people, and subverts its own constitution. Much of the angst arises from the tribal council's unwillingness to distribute 100% of a $126 million settlement to its approximately 1,500 enrolled members. The tribe has distributed 60% of the funds, but some members are demanding the remaining 40%. Tribal members are circulating two petitions. One seeks distribution of the remaining funds, and the other seeks to recall tribal chairman Clement Frost and 4 of the 6 tribal council members. 2 council members, Kevin Frost and Adam Redd, have been on the council for less than 6 months and therefore cannot be recalled. The rift has exposed a long-standing mistrust between some tribal members and their government, which they accuse of using intimidation and bullying tactics to silence and oppress members. The tribe holds assets worth more than $1 billion, yet it discloses little about its financial dealings, including who it employs, how much it pays, and basic revenue and expense reports, members said. Tribal officials say information relevant to the community is posted on the tribe's website, broadcast on KSUT-FM, or published in the Southern Ute Drum, the tribe's newspaper. More sensitive information is available to members upon request. They don't want certain information distributed outside the reservation for a variety of reasons, including member safety, said Lindsay Box, a communications specialist for the tribe.
From the Cortez Journal, after reviewing the results of a 2-month public survey, the Cortez Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Advisory Board voted Friday to bring a tobacco-free policy before the City Council. In January, the Parks Department put out an online survey asking Montezuma County residents if they would support tobacco-free zones around city property, including public parks. Out of 865 responses, 492 people said they would strongly support a 50-foot smoke and vapor-free perimeter around all city-owned buildings and outdoor recreation areas, making that the most popular option out of 3 surveyed. The board voted to bring that policy before the Cortez City Council at its next meeting. Parks Director Dean Palmquist said the response exceeded his expectations. He had hoped to hear from 700 people before March 17th. In earlier meetings, the board agreed that any new rule about smoking near the parks would be a city policy, not a law, so it wouldn't be enforced by police. But if it's approved by the council, Palmquist said the department would pay to put up signs designating the smoke-free areas. Palmquist and other members of the board said their primary concern in the tobacco-free policy was to protect children from secondhand smoke. Survey respondents made similar comments. Board member Rachel Medina said the city should install trash cans for cigarette butts outside smoke-free areas, both to make sure people know where they're allowed to smoke. Councilman Bob Archibek agreed, saying unclear boundaries create division, which creates hostility and anger. Palmquist said the new policy would take into account smokers' and non-smokers' interests, but that it's unlikely the city will be able to please everyone. The suggested policy will come before the City Council during their next meeting on March 28th.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, new revenue forecasts for the 2017-18 fiscal year released Friday brought good news. Colorado's economy is growing and its unemployment rate continues to drop. And bad news. There is a projected gap of $696 million between expected revenue and Governor John Hickenlooper's budget. Or as Senator Kevin Lundberg, Republican of Berthoud, put it, as I see this report, for the average citizen, it's a very good report, but for the state of Colorado, it's a bit of a wake-up call that even in good times, we're spending more than we've got revenues to work with. It was one of two forecasts presented Friday to the Joint Budget Committee, which is responsible for finalizing the budgets for state-funded departments and programs such as CDOT, K-12, and Medicaid. The reports differed regarding how much money the state would owe taxpayers as refunds under the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, how much the state owed to its reserve fund, and how much revenue would increase over the past year, which was listed as $254.2 million in a report by the Colorado Legislative Council and $374.7 million in one presented by the Office of State Planning and Budgeting. The JBC will decide which set of numbers to work with when making cuts and trying to find ways to fill the gap. But since the disparity happens yearly, the committee has a pretty simple formula for deciding which report to use. And now here's our weather report.
The high pressure we have over our region is moving east, and the clouds from a low pressure system from the coast are helping it on its way out. This weak low will deliver most of its energy north of the Grand Junction area from late afternoon until midnight, and it will be highest at a level for DCTV country. Slight chances for showers and thunderstorms north of the line from Monticello to Montrose will exist. Winds will be gusty this afternoon and heighten fire weather concerns. Tomorrow will be drier, but southwest winds should increase in velocity as that next Pacific trough begins to push into the coast. Tuesday night should still be dry, but a few showers could develop over our high country. Late Wednesday, the next major system will arrive on winds in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range. And here in the southwest corner, any precipitation is expected to be after dark at this point in time. Early Thursday between 6 a.m. and noon, a large cold front with this trough will move through eastern Utah and western Colorado. So Thursday will be likely 15 to 20 degrees cooler than Wednesday at near 50. At this point, rainfall in the valleys is estimated that it will be between 1/4 and 1/2 inch, with 1 inch in the mountains, and snow elevations may be near 7,500 foot levels. Precipitation will end from west to east Friday morning, with some loitering in the mountains for snow showers there or rain Friday afternoon. After that, we may get a short break, and we may not. Either way, and until another trough is expected late Sunday sometime, and how soon and how much, stay tuned for Wednesday, and we'll find out about Wednesday and early next week on Wednesday's broadcast. Now, from our national forecast image, from the mid-Mississippi Valley to the mid-Atlantic coast and northeast today and Tuesday, a low-pressure system will make a trail of showers and thunderstorms. Snow or a mix of high rain and snow will spread from parts of the northern plains and Great Lakes to the northeast from an Arctic air mass spilling into the northern states. The west coast will be in the wet through midweek. Rain will be widespread from central California to Washington and may be heavy at times, especially in northern California. Rapid runoff and flash flooding could easily develop. In the overnight hours, as things cool, snow will develop over the Cascades and Sierras and spread to the northern Rockies tomorrow. The Sierras are likely to have heavy snow Tuesday and Wednesday. High temperatures over the next 5 days will begin near 70 and drop nearly 20 degrees to near 50 and then return to a midpoint at near 60 for Saturday. Lows will follow the same general pattern, but over only a 9-degree difference between the least cold at 41 and the coldest at 32 on Thursday night. Today will be the most sunshine you'll see until Friday, with plenty of clouds between, and that late Wednesday wind will be the worst of it. Runoff, avalanche risk, fire weather, all in the same week. You might think you were in Colorado somewhere in the spring. Now back to the news.
According to the Cortez Journal, more than $90,000 in additional reimbursements for costs associated with the Gold King mine spill in 2015 was awarded to 5 entities in Colorado and Utah, the Environmental Protection Agency announced Thursday. According to EPA spokeswoman Kathy Milburn, the reimbursements are as follows. La Plata County gets $38,779. San Juan Basin Public Health Department is $13,611. The City of Durango, $1,072. Southern Ute Indian Tribe, $812. The State of Utah, $36,099.55. According to the EPA's announcement, the payments were allocated to requests for reimbursements that were filed before December 16th. And were evaluated following the enactment of the Water Infrastructure Improvements of the Nation Act. The act was signed into law by former President Barack Obama on December 16th after it overwhelmingly passed Congress 6 days earlier. Its intent is to provide funds for critical water infrastructure improvements. The EPA said in its news release the agency continues to evaluate other reimbursement requests, some of which were received after December 16th.
It is now official at 407.06. Week before last was 406.1, and 1 year ago it was 404.69. 10 years ago, in 2007, the number was 384.39. 6 scientists have collaborated in a study and evaluation of ocean temperatures and data from 1960 to 2015. From a study published Friday in the journal Science Advances, contributed to by John Fasulo and Kevin Trenberth from the National Center for Atmospheric Research in Boulder and Tim Boyer with NOAA's National Centers for Environmental Information, and John Abraham from the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota. Lijing Qing and Jing Zhu from the International Center for Climate and Environmental Sciences, Institute of Atmospheric Physics, and Chinese Academy of Sciences in Beijing. The world's oceans have been heating up far faster than scientists previously estimated. The rate of warming has almost doubled since 1992 when compared with previous decades, and the heat has permeated deeper than ever indicated. The scientists gathered data using thousands of robotic floats to measure water temperature and salinity. The team found from 1960 to 2015, ocean warming throughout the world was 13% greater than estimates by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. The data also showed that in the 1990s, warming began to spread deeper into the ocean, from 700 meters to 2,000 meters. Previous estimates by the IPCC showed ocean warming to account for 30 to 40% of sea level rise. The study found the figure was more like 50%. The world's oceans are now warmer than at any point in the last 50 years. The International Union for the Conservation of Nature estimated oceans are on track to rise by as much as 39 degrees Fahrenheit by 2100. Because oceans absorb more than 90% of trapped greenhouse gases, even if emissions were halted altogether immediately, the ocean would continue to warm for an unknown number of years. Increased water temperature brings with it increased risks, both environmental and otherwise. Rising temperatures cause glaciers and other frozen bodies of water to melt, increasing sea level exponentially and directly affecting the potential for storm surges, flooding, and the destruction of coastal infrastructure. Marine life is increasingly at risk as well. According to the World Wildlife Fund, coral bleaching caused by increased temperatures has led to up to 70% of corals dying off in some areas. Many marine creatures' metabolisms and life cycles are regulated by temperature, and any alteration in warmth could change behavioral cues and reproduction. From this study, we can better understand the effects of natural and man-made variability on the climate system, says Tim Boyer, NOAA's Ocean Climate Laboratory and co-author of the study. Decision makers can gauge what needs to be done to ameliorate the situation, or, if not, to plan for the consequences of that excess heat.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, disagreeing without being disagreeable is the way many friends, bosses, co-workers, and former law clerks describe fourth-generation Coloradan and Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch. Whether it's Gorsuch pausing to ask a courthouse security guard about his family, or letting a former law clerk's 3-year-old son ride one of his horses, Gorsuch is not shy about inviting people into his world, said former law clerk Jason Murray. The affable judge values getting along with others regardless of political views. Gorsuch's nomination to the U.S. Supreme Court is to be taken up Monday by the Senate Judiciary Committee. Gorsuch, 49, lives in Boulder with his wife and 2 daughters, and his expansive property is filled with horses, goats, and chickens and includes an orchard. An outdoor enthusiast, he enjoys skiing, fly fishing, and hiking. Regardless of where he's lived, people who have worked with or alongside him lauded his warm personality, which many attributed to his Western roots.
Reported in Colorado Springs Independent, Saturday, March 18th through Saturday, March 25th marks Colorado Craft Beer Week, a celebration of all things malty and bubbly made in Colorado. Run by the Colorado Brewers Guild, the week sees breweries across the state putting on special events. It's all in preparation for March 25th's Collaboration Beer Fest at the National Western Complex in Denver. Go online to collaborationfest.com. The event features breweries from across the state and around the world teaming up to make one-off specialty beers. Making a strong showing at Collaboration Fest is Pikes Peak Brewing Company out of Colorado Springs. Their founder, Chris Wright, is vice chair of the Colorado Brewers Guild Board of Directors this year, so he'll have a hand in the Guild Board collaboration beer. His breweries collaborated with Littleton-based Living the Dream Brewing to make a smoked peach ale dubbed Smoke 'em If You Got 'em. They're also teaming up with Wine Coop Brewing Company, co-founded by Governor John Hickenlooper, to make a pistachio-aged rye ale. For those who don't want to spend $60 to $85 to attend Collaboration Fest, many of the breweries around the state have planned special events and brewed special beers to celebrate the week. In our local area, Ska Brewing of Durango, Telluride Brewing, and Durango Brewing Company will be represented and are offering specials in relation to the week's activities. Joining Craft Beer Week's events in progress, Wednesday, March 22nd is Colorado Pint Day, and at participating breweries across the state, patrons who order a pint can pay an extra $1 for a specially engraved glass dubbed the 14er, designed to celebrate the mountains, wildlife, and beer of Colorado. That extra $1 goes to the Colorado Brewers Guild. Their collaboration partners over at Fossil have plans for Thursday, March 23rd. At 7 p.m., they're hosting a Meet the Brewer night with brewer Josh Mader. On Friday, March 24th, go to either of the two for a tapping of both breweries' collaboration beers.
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of March 13th through the 19th. Colorado State Patrol requested assistance in locating a vehicle that left the scene of an accident in Cortez. The driver returned to the scene on their own accord. A deputy responded to a report of a pedestrian traveling on the opposite side of the roadway west from town. It was learned that the pedestrian is walking from Ontario, Canada to California and journaling their travels on an online blog. A routine traffic stop led to the summons of a man for driving while ability impaired. That's it for today's roundup. Stay tuned for continuing updates.
For today's High Country happenings, on March 25th, 6 p.m. at the Cortez Cultural Center, they will host an evening of artist-led painting accompanied by a selection of delicious wines and light snacks. No matter your skill level, the experienced instructor will help you create a colorful painting to take home and enjoy. Prices include a 16 by 20 canvas, paint supplies, instruction, 1 beverage, 21 and older for alcoholic beverages, light snacks. Additional beverages are available for purchase. No refunds within 48 hours of the event. It's $28 for members or $35 for non-members. Also, March 25th, learn the valuable skill of grafting and take home 4 heritage apple trees grafted by you at one of Montezuma Orchard Restoration Project's upcoming events. This one is held from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. A minimum of 10 participants are required and a maximum of 20 allowed. So please pre-register early to assure your place in the workshop. For more details, email them at morp@montezumaorchard.org. Cost is $35 for MORP members, $45 for non-members. You may become a member at the same time as paying for the class. And although we usually only do the Dolores County Sheriff's Report, I would like to share a brief section of last week's entry in Durango's blotter. Tuesday, 4:18 p.m., 25 cows were loose on County Road 321. 5:10 p.m., cars were swerving to avoid a large plastic tub of kitty litter near Colorado Highway 3 and Sawmill Road. 6:43 p.m., bikers were riding 4 or 5 abreast in the 1000 block of East Animas Road. 7:44 p.m., a man reported seeing a UFO drop people off on a mesa near Farmington Hill, just south of Durango. 10:24 p.m., a man accidentally called 911 while resetting his Apple Watch at Purgatory Resort. And yes, I did say at 7:44, a man reported a UFO drop-off. No follow-up available, but good to know what's happening. All of the happenings are posted up on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the embedded YouTube replays, weather, and original stories and local posts. To share your event or information, contact us. It's dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station 677-4119. I'll be sure to get your news on air.
Thanks for tuning in. This program airs live at noon Monday through Wednesday, then is rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m., and again re-aired Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the same order at noon, 3, and 6 p.m.
We are also featuring a live call-in show called Talk Tuesday. It's aired live Tuesday evenings at 5:30 p.m. and then rebroadcast throughout the week at 5:30. Be sure to check out our Facebook page. It has all the links and details with original stories and the video replays. Please like us there and share the link.
For Kendra Cook, Jerry Tope, and everyone at DCTV with the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.